So in today's video, I'm going to talk about an app that I've been developing. Now, it's not an app in the traditional sense of the word. It's not going to reside on your phone and going to be something you click on and go to. It's a web app, so it's something that you'll click on once and you'll go through what it has you go through. But what's a more interesting part of the story is how it came about and what it's here to do. And that's what today's video is going to be about. I call the app the Leadership Blind Spot Assessment. Now, that sounds very official, and rest assured, it didn't start out that way. It started out basically in two areas. The first area was I wanted to create something that would give people who are potentially my clients, entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are responsible for creating and generating the success and the wealth and the success in their family, a way to see underneath the success, like what the success was doing for them, but what's underneath the surface, what may or may not be working for them in their life. But I wanted to do it in a way that didn't require a whole ton of commitment, so it was short. And I wanted to do it in a way that allowed them to engage in something that was fun. And one of the things that I find fun online is doing various assessments, like what kind of leader are you? Or what's your attachment style? Or what's your Enneagram type? Or what's your Myers-Briggs number? You know, some of those are really long and intensive and you have to answer hundreds of questions. And some are really easy, quick, and fun. And you get some information. Now, the other interesting thing about those tests is sometimes the information you get is really useful and sometimes it's whatever. It was really important for me that this information, that what I was creating was going to provide someone with really useful information. And the other criteria I had was that the results wouldn't hide behind the request for your email address. You'd get the results, and then perhaps if you gave your email, you'd get more results or you'd get more deeper stuff. And that's really what I built it around. And like I said, the name of it, I didn't start with the name of it. I started with just this idea. In fact, I started with, I'm not even building an app. I'm just going to build a questionnaire that has a bunch of questions on it that lets somebody see inside of their life in a powerful way. And that evolved into this app idea. And what I got was this, what I will call an amazing product, because it hits in all of these categories. It's simple, it's quick, and man, the result it delivers every time I do it or have someone else experiment with it and do it, it's kind of mind-boggling in what it creates. So that's what we're going to start talking about next. In order to see something that's powerful for you, you have to be willing to look at something that you're not ordinarily willing to look at. So I had to start thinking about, how do I ask the questions? What are the questions to ask that has someone that thinks their life is fine, that would say their life is fine over and over and over again? What would cause them to pause? Here's the trap that almost every entrepreneur falls into, because they're most of the time disciplined, they're action oriented, they have a tremendous amount of willpower, and they're focused on performance. They keep focusing on performance, and they are convinced that the more they focus on performance and the more success they have, the more it will lead to more success. Does that make sense? The more if they're not getting what they want in terms of their success, they double down on their performance. And to the outside world, if anybody asks, they also double down on, I'm fine. I've got it. I can handle it. This could be their spouse asking. This could be a stranger asking. This could be a colleague asking. Actually, now that I just said that, if a stranger asks, they're probably more likely to tell the truth, which very often is, I'm not fine. I'm white knuckling it. I'm barely holding on. I don't know how I'm going to keep holding it together long enough for my kids to get to college. I don't know how my health is going to hold together long enough for me to not die an early death. But those are the last things that they tell anybody. And they justify where they are by the results they're getting in their real life. The car they drive, the house they live in, the money that's in their bank account, the things that the world tends to focus on as measures of success. Most people, most of these entrepreneurs will go through their life focused on performance, like I said before. They focus on one number. How am I performing? Am I getting there? It's a little bit like they have one gauge in their car, the speedometer, and it tells them how fast they're going. And if their speed is low, it's down at 20 miles an hour, then they got to do whatever they can to get it back up to 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. What they tend to not realize is there's something else they're not measuring. And this would be like having a speedometer and a tachometer in your car. And the tachometer tells you the speed of your engine. And both are important for telling you the performance of the car. Well, the other side of performance is the cost of performance. What is it costing you? Now, most entrepreneurs aren't focused on the costs. They're doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on the performance. They've been willing to sacrifice any cost for years, for decades, because the payoff always seems like it's worth it when they're in it. Usually they don't see the cost until they look back and go, oh, crap, wow, I really blew that, or I really missed that, or man, I wish I had focused on my relationship with my kids or my health and well-being or whatever it is that they regret. So I thought it's really important in this leadership blind spot assessment to measure both numbers, performance and also the cost of performance. So in the assessment, there are these two gauges. One is measuring your performance, where you've got life handled, and or if you do. And then it looks at strain, which measures cost. Like, what's the strain of this on the areas of your life that are really important to you? You can be kicking ass in performance and have also, at the same time, this is commonly what happens with entrepreneurs, is they have a really high performance number and they also have a really high strain number. See, the measure of an entrepreneur is how they can handle it all and hold it all together. So while they're, out slaying dragons, they are peaked out at the strain, the cost, the stress of it all in the system. Think of it like the Starship Enterprise when, this is an old reference, but some of you may get it, when, Captain Kirk would say, give it all she's got, and Scotty would say, I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. Captain Kirk would say, warp factor 10, and Scotty would say, I'm giving her all she's got. She's gonna rattle apart. Well, that's very often what it's like in the entrepreneurship world with founders and business owners. It took me a really long time to see this in my own business. In fact, I spent really the last 10 years kind of experiencing it and falling apart and then putting things back together and finally seeing these differences. I wish I'd had this tool, because this tool, within 5 minutes, you can see it. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do something about it, but at least you see it. There are 5 areas that the assessment covers, and these are like 5 rooms in your house. None is more important than the other. They all go together to put together a balanced, a harmonious life. Not a balanced life, but a harmonious life, a life that's fulfilled. So one area is your health and well-being. Another area is your personal relationships with your spouse, with your family members, extended family members, maybe with your business partners and your friends, your relationships. One is your performance at work. How is work doing? Is it creating the wealth and the success that you actually want for your life? Let's see, the 4th is your peace of mind. How are you in your head? What's it like to be inside of your head on a day-to-day basis? And the 5th area is this all meaningful to you? Have you created it in a way that fulfills you and has you feel filled with meaning and purpose and satisfied with what you've created? So enough talking about it. I want to tell you a little bit about what the experience is like. So you'll go in, there are 22 questions. You're going to answer the questions. Like I said, it's going to take you less than 5 minutes probably. And you're going to get to the end. It's going to give you an interpretation. This is not a generic interpretation. It's going to take your answers and it's going to generate through AI a narrative of what does this mean for you? Where are you in your life? What are you letting go of? What are you not seeing? It's also going to give you 2 scores for each one of the 5 rooms. It's going to rate you on your performance, and then what's the strain? You're going to get 2 scores for each area. Now, if you decide you want to get the results in writing, you'll give out your email address, and what you'll get in the email is deeper ways of looking at it. Some suggestions for some exercises to do, some suggestions for how you may take another step yourself in your life to address something that you're looking at. If you haven't heard it in my voice already, I'm incredibly excited about this app. And I really am confident that it's going to bring you value to your life. Again, so important for me, to my authenticity, to my audience, to the people that I serve, that I'm not creating stuff for them to go out and do that is just more bunk. I'm creating something that's actually of real value to them in their life. So go out and take it. I'd love to hear about how your experience with it. If you like it, share it with other people. You know, we're operating at such a high speed and high intensity all the time that the world very often doesn't slow down to take a look at things like this. And yet things like this actually point us toward the things that on our deathbeds, when we're looking back and saying, I wish I had, this will help you at least see what you're not pointing at and maybe give you an opportunity to make a change to point at it. Whether you work with me, work with any coach, or just do the work on your own. So go out there and get after it, and I look forward to hearing how it goes. See ya.